Good morning to everyone. Let me introduce myself, Dr. Umesh Yavuti. I'm a assistant professor of zoology, working as a HOD, Department of Zoology, JSS Arts, Science, Commerce, and Degree College in Bhopal. Respected today's technical session president, respected director, HRDC, Baba Sahib Ambedkar, Marathwada University of Aurangabad. Sir, I am presenting this micro teaching lesson today, HRDC, JMU, Aurangabad. So today's class will give one micro teaching lesson over human respiratory system. Human respiratory. So here on the blackboard, few of the important terminology that I mentioned, so that the BSc first sem students should recall these wordings and can understand properly the things. At the same time, we have one chart which shows the human respiratory parts. What is the respiration? Basically, respiration is a phenomenon in which we take atmospheric air in and we throw atmospheric out. So at the same time, the body utilizes the oxygen that was taken through the breathing oxygen for cellular respiration, and it derives the energy from using oxygen molecule. So oxidative reactions are noticed in the cellular components and energy is produced. So respiration is directly related to the formation of energy inside the body. Anyway, the basic phenomenon of respiration is, the mechanism is taking atmospheric air in and throwing air out. How this is happening in a human body? Let us understand the respiration phenomenon. So respiration basically, it involves two phases, that is phases of respiration, that is breathing. Breathing involves inspiration and expiration, or you can call it as an inhalation or exhalation. Here in a breathing, what is happening? So normally the atmospheric air is entering in our body, and at the same time, and it was getting locked inside the chest cavity, that is inside the lungs, and it will be locked inside the lungs. It is not directly diffusing inside our body. So this is the phenomenon of breathing. So atmospheric air is getting in, going out. So this is called as inspiration, expiration, or inhalation or exhalation. So at the same time, when the air is entering and locking inside the chest cavity in the lungs, the gaseous exchange taking place and oxygen was taken by the blood capillaries, those were found inside the lungs. So what happening? The blood gets purified. Your blood gives the carbon dioxide, in turn it takes the oxygen, so oxygenated blood goes out from the lungs. So this phenomenon was happening inside the lung cavity. So the oxygen that was taken by the blood will carry that blood to the different parts of the body and provides all cellular components this oxygen. So all the cells, they will utilize this oxygen and burn the food molecule, and they produce the carbon dioxide, water, and good amount of energy, and that energy was used to perform different metabolic activity. So in this way, the respiration is taking place inside the human body. Let us understand how actually the atmospheric air is entering. You know that this is from nasal chamber to the alveolar tract, alveolar sacs. So from nasal chamber, from here, nasal chamber to the lungs in chest cavity, those were properly guarded by the ribs. Inside lungs are there. Those are all respiratory organs. Together this is called as a respiratory system. So in a respiratory system, the air is entering. How it is happening means, you just see, particularly the air is entering in our body through the nostril chamber. Nostril chamber, how? So here nostrils are there, and the air when it enters, here mucus and small hairs are there which block the air, and air temporarily stays and gets in. So in this process, what happening? The air is get purified with reference to the dust, animal dander, suspended particles, and other impurity material. So pure air is able to get inside the body. So what happening, once in such way, from the nostril chamber, the air passes through the pharynx. It is a tubular structure which is overlapping with this region inside human body is called as throat, and the air through the pharynx enters the larynx. And you should know that larynx is also it is also a tubular structure, and after this larynx, the air enters to the trachea. It is a trachea. So I will show you the figure. This is the trachea. So in the throat region only you come across. This is also called as a windpipe, and the air through this nostril chamber entering the trachea, and trachea divides into two divisions. that is the right and left bronchus. So right enters the right lungs, left enters the left lungs. So once again it divides into primary, secondary, tertiary. Bronchus were divided into tracheal divides, and each bronchus ends with the alveoli sacs. Here we have shown that this structure is called as alveoli sacs, and so in this way the atmospheric air that is entering through this nostril cavity enters through this the gut, particularly in this region. This is also called as food tube. Food is also swallowed. So glottis, epiglottis helps avoiding the food entering the food tube. And what happening, the wind with this wind tube, the air enters and locks inside the lungs. So air is getting locked. Why I am using the word locked? Because the air is directly not profusing inside our body. It is coming and getting locked in the lungs, right and left lungs. And what happening here? Here, what happening? The lungs which is entering alveolar sacs. So the air can see this is called as alveoli. The air is locked inside this structure. These are trident structures. These are called as alveolus. So air is locked and stays here. So this phenomenon is called as breathing. What is the breathing then? Breathing is a phenomenon in which we take atmospheric air in and we locks inside the lung and it ends in the alveoli sac. So air is not getting directly inside the body. So when such air is passing, what are the changes that we are noticing? Here in the nostril cavity, the air is filtered with reference to the dust and environment and other particles, and air is allowed to go inside and getting locked inside this surface. The next question comes. So this breathing is not called as a directly a respiration phenomenon. It's a part of a respiration. So in breathing, air is allowed to get inside the lungs. That is the meaning. So what happening in internal respiration? What is this internal respiration? Internal respiration means when air is coming inside the lungs, these are the alveolus lungs are there. The air is locked. So these alveolus sacs where you are getting the atmospheric air. So atmospheric air is more rich in oxygen and less amount of carbon dioxide is there. That is very interesting part that one has to know. In this alveolus sacs, what happening? More amount of oxygen is there, less amount of carbon dioxide is there. So from the body, the impure blood, the heart pumps the impure blood and it rushes to the lungs. So this is called a perfusion action. Why perfusion? Huge amount of capillary networks are noticed in the alveoli sacs and they are all covering this alveolus. What happening? So the blood capillaries are covering them. So the blood which are coming here, they are also very rich in. They are rich in more amount of carbon dioxide and less amount of oxygen is there. Then what happens? Naturally, because of the difference in a diffusion gradient, the oxygen from the atmospheric air enters into the cavity, blood capillaries, not sorry, cavity, it is blood capillaries, and from the capillaries, the carbon dioxide rushes inside these in here. So what happening? So in where the atmospheric air is locked, so the atmospheric air gets the carbon dioxide from the capillary. In turn, it gives the oxygen to the blood capillary. So in this way, the blood capillaries get purified. So purified blood will rushes to the heart once again. From the heart, it was pumped to the different parts of the body. So there comes the internal respiration. So this pumping is part of a circulatory system. It consists of heart, blood vessels, and blood. But remember, one has to remember that they are working together in a fine balance. You are getting the point? What happening? So when the pure blood or oxygen-rich blood, when it was circulated to all parts of the body cells, they take the oxygen from the blood, and in turn, what they will give? They will give the carbon dioxide and excess water molecule to the blood. So in this way, they make the blood impure, and the pure blood which supplies the oxygen and takes the carbon dioxide. So this phenomena inside a cellular component is called as internal respiration. So in internal respiration, what is happening? In internal respiration, the cellular oxidation is taking place. Carbon dioxide and water is formed, and excess carbon dioxide water is formed, and it is all given to the blood. And so in this way, blood get purified. So in this way, respiration, huge amount of energy is produced, and that energy was used for different metabolic activities. So in this small micro teaching class, we have tried to say about two important phenomena, that is human respiratory system and what is the basic part of a human respiratory. These are the basic parts of the human respiratory system through which the air is entering in the lungs or chest cavity. And so when it is entering, so then what happening? It is once again, the internal respiration that is happening inside the body because of the gaseous exchange. So that is called internal respiration. We are not understanding the exact mechanism and all those things in this class. We limit here only. So this is about the human respiratory. So students, if I ask you, well, how you will answer? I will ask the question, what are the different parts of a human respiratory system? Then you have to say, sir, the respiration is phenomena of taking atmospheric air in and throwing air out. How it is happening? It is not because of breathing it is happening. And after getting the air, what they will do? The respiratory system is responsible for exchange of the gases at a cellular component. You are making a point? Yeah. Later you can ask the question. Yeah. So this is so through the diffusion and perfusion that is happening in the lungs, they are very important. Another important factor that when breathing we have to remember is these lungs are sitting on a diaphragm. It is a muscular structure. As and through the intercostal muscles, it makes an action that was shown here grammatically. What happening? Because of these actions, air was regularly allowed to in and pushed out. Air was taken in, air was pushed out. So simple Bell-jar experiment explains how the diaphragm is working. I am not going to elaborate all those points. Anyway, we have just explained you what are the different parts of a human respiratory system. Hope in tomorrow's class we will understand the mechanism of breathing and gaseous exchange that is happening in a cellular structure. We will end the class here only. Thank you.